no! Hey everybody, it's Andy Kushner, host of the Wedding Biz, and you are listening to The Next Level with my co-host Melissa Fancy.
Hi everybody.
And together we discuss the most recent guest interview, and Melissa and I are going to kind of take out a few highlights that we feel are really important and can have an impact and help deliver them so that you could help bring your business to the next level. And so, first of all, I want to say, Melissa, I was just in New York City. What a gas. It's like, you got to really get used to all the honking cars and the action. I mean, I get off the train there and it's like, bam, I'm in another dimension.
I love that energy. It is, I swear if I lived there, all I would do would be like just constantly being with people and working on projects. Like I don't think I would relax there because I'd be just too excited all the time.
Yeah, the energy is incredible. And the reason I was there was because of the Wedding Biz. Mm-hmm. And I had some just incredible conversations. Preston Bailey, who I interviewed a year ago, we released his episode like a month or so ago, had introduced me to Norma Cohen. So I sat down with Norma Cohen in her apartment, and that was a fascinating story. That's a real fun one to release. Also sat down with Julie Sabatino, who has The Stylish Bride, and I know that somewhat soon we're going to have a very special announcement about the Wedding Biz, and there's a certain connection to Julie. We're going to wait, Melissa. We're going to keep a teaser here for the crowd.
Yes, keep it together.
All right. Don't. If you know her, don't bother her about this. She's going to say nothing. I also sat down with one of the greatest photographers, Christian Oth, at his beautiful office. I also met his business development person, Mackenzie. What an incredible team he has. And Christian was just, woo. I mean, Melissa, that was something else. We really went deep. I don't know the mood we were in. There's some great valuable content there. We're going to be releasing that in the next couple of months. And then I wrapped up the trip with a part 2 with Preston Bailey. Went to his office. Again, same thing as team. My God, Patrick, Luis, Alejandra, everyone is so amazing. At the end of it, Preston was really gracious. And then Patrick brought out this fresh plate of mango slices. Let me tell you, everybody, do that for your clients or your prospective clients at the very end on a hot day, and you got them. You got them.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so incredible. I wish I could have been with you. All those people and their intimate conversations, amazing.
Yeah, Preston was, talk about going deep. We got into some stuff like talking about just challenges and what do you do when business is down, and he's had it all. He's seen it all. It was just, talked more about inspiration. And I mean, we had a really heavy talk. I'm just ecstatic about how it went. So my trip was really something else. What about you, Melissa? What have you been doing lately?
Oh, you know what? I just got back from Biz Bash Live LA, and I am still buzzing from it. It was so fun. If I saw you there, I adore you. And if you haven't gone to Biz Bash, I highly suggest it, if not just for the people. But honestly, so many of the people on the main stage were so inspiring, and I'm a little overstimulated. I'll be honest with you. It was amazing. And Andy, everybody was talking about podcasts. So I am so excited that we're doing this.
Oh, yeah. What happened? Any speakers or anything like that? I mean, how'd it come up?
Yeah. Vox Media was on stage, and they are just so fantastic. Vanessa from there. And she was just talking about the really interesting ways that they are using podcasts and incorporating it into different, experiences for their media companies and collaborations and brands, and actually doing like live podcasting and getting guests included in that experience. And so I just was so inspired. It's so cool.
Well, and I want to say I noticed a really big difference from when we were in Engage at Nizook last December to the one we just went to in June at the Fairmont in Banff. It was like night and day. I mean, people were so receptive. It was like all of a sudden the whole thing had exploded just in that 6-month period. So yeah, I feel really excited to have this show. And so let me introduce the guests. Now, this is a little bit different. This is not technically someone in the wedding industry. However, we decided to release it and to interview this guy because it's just so apropos. There were so many tie-ins to what we do in the event industry, and that is celebrity chef Roy Yamaguchi. And Roy is the founder of a collection of restaurants, and he really is revered for his culinary skills. And he's also known as the innovator of Hawaiian-inspired cuisine. Interesting conversation about that. Roy's received numerous prestigious awards, and it was so exciting. I got to say, Melissa, when I sat down with Roy, and this was in Maui, so I was able to see him at a restaurant, the Humble Market Kitchen at the Grand Wailea Resort. So that was quite a wonderful area to meet him. And, because of the scale that he's built, I don't know, I had some kind of an assumption about Roy that he would just be this certain kind of a personality. And what really struck me immediately was how humble he was. And the stories that he told were so touching. I mean, you all, if any of you have not heard the whole interview, you might want to go back, check it out. It just really grabbed me by the heart.
I was really inspired by it. And, what's funny is I've met throughout, all of us have with event design and planning and different pieces of our industry. You really meet a lot of different chefs. And I have many different friends that are chefs in different, venues that I work at. And they're all fantastic and all different. But when you said that you were going to interview Roy, I really was like, wow, I wonder what he's going to be like. And, to my delight, he was so humble. And he felt very approachable. And I'm kind of obsessed about it. It was really cool.
One of the big topics that grabbed my attention, we're all looking to, let's say, scale our businesses in various ways. There's some who really scale it up in massive proportions, but, just growing your business, I'm going to even consider that scaling in a sense from because most of us, in this business start alone by ourselves. And so it was really interesting when I asked him about that, how he does it. And he started to talk about how he creates this community. And in the beginning, I think it was his first restaurant failed. And then the second one, he built in a community somewhere which was really, in a sense, a risk. He didn't go pick a certain big road with a whole lot of traffic and with other restaurants nearby. He wanted to open it in a neighborhood where he hired neighborhood people. It was to serve the neighbors themselves. And it was this whole kind of a culture that he created. Did you catch that? There was a whole thing about like this subculture that Roy created, which extends throughout his entire brand.
Yeah. And what I thought was so powerful is that was his answer to you when you asked him about that. He didn't say, and to scale my business, it was steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It was, he immediately talks about and goes right into this community and how that was his sustainable answer to that. Even when people told him he was going to fail, I thought there was so much power in that. And God, we talk about this all the time, Andy, just like how do we as small business owners get to, again, the next level? And I think that so many people's answers are, a formula, or they wish it was. And it all goes back to people and the community,
I agree. It's, we're getting back again to that phrase that we use here in the business so much, which is connection, personally connecting. And what I also found interesting was that it wasn't just so much creating this sense of community to the public, but he also was very thoughtful. It was very much on purpose and thought out that he's creating a culture even within his team. And there were a couple aspects I remember right now off the top of my head, which was that he said after work often, and this is in that second restaurant that he started to be successful, is they would close down the restaurant. They would all get a cocktail and a drink, and they would sit there and they would critique the night. And he said, they would laugh and everything. They would turn into shouting matches. Like, it was very passionate. And so there was this, I don't know if I want to say a feel of a family, but there was definitely this sense of connection within themselves that they could do that. And he talked about how, look, when he, as the owner, as the chef, would let go of control and bring in his team like that, that's when he was really able to grow.
Exactly. And so many of us are so caught up in, how do we keep our fingers so tightly wrapped around every little detail and minutia? And I think that we're really just getting in our own way, and it really limits us and it stresses us out. And, I think we all want this like magical wand to wave and say, okay, I'm going to scale my business. I'm going to grow. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to, be the next big thing. But really in the background, it all comes back to, our mission, right? So when I was at Biz Bash. Somebody from LA Times was there speaking on stage, and he was so adamant that we're all so obsessed with this discussion about brand and marketing. And I thought that there was totally a connection here because he said, no, it's about your mission. What is your mission? Let's all go back to that conversation. And Roy, his mission was this community. And that, I think, is where we all in our own businesses can really, really turn our attention to as well.
I like how you're talking about this mission, because he also talked about how he hired, not that we all would do that, but I think it's important for us to hear this. He hired a company that actually deals in keeping cultures together. And he said that's what branding is, at least for him. And so he called it like a culinary culture, and that basically he came up with, I think he talked about like a principle statement about who are they? What is it that they do? What is it that they're trying to achieve? Who are the stakeholders, not stockholders, stakeholders. And he called it something like the principles and beliefs of Roy, or Roy's way, something like that. But that was part of the mission statement, was to, again, he hired someone, but the point is sit down and think about, why are we doing this? What is this about? Who are we? What are we trying to get across? Which obviously is tied into branding. That was really interesting to me.
I am so with you. And it's really something I think if we all sat down, even every few years, and really focused on that mission, and then made sure that all of our decisions were tied into that mission, I think it would bring us all a little bit more, succinctness in our business and how we present ourselves. I think it would also help us to guide our teams and our staff so that we're not all so disconnected, because that's where you have the fall apart, is when you get to have that disconnect,
And, tied into that, in my opinion, also, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'm thinking about a lot of the people I've interviewed on the show talking about something related to this, which is creating also a joyful environment within your team and, of course, around you. And it's contagious to the client. And this came out when I asked Roy. I said, well, what differentiates a great chef from, or a master, a great chef from a master? And I loved his answer. This is burned into my brain. He said, what's important is your heart. And he said, a great cook can relate to a lot of people. And he was saying how, in a sense, I don't know if I'm catching this right exactly, but a great chef is about the technical part and the art itself, but a master is more about the people. And how can a great cook reach more people through their cooking? I loved that angle.
It was so empowering. And I think you can really make a direct translation from that to the event industry, right? So if you look at the masters of events, you're not talking about the people who are making events for themselves. You're talking about people who are making events for the community, for the people, for the humans that are enjoying it. And those are the parties, those are the memories and experiences that we continue to talk about to this day. I mean, even coming off of Engage, we're all still talking about it because they make an effort to make the event for us, not for what would be great for them.
It's so interesting you just brought it up that way, because when I just sat down with Preston a couple days ago, there was one point in the interview where he specifically said, look, I can't just do what purely my vision for myself. I'm still there. And this is how he termed it. Preston said, I'm being of service. And I was really moved when he said it that way. And our last release just prior to today's was Mindy Weiss last week. And you all, if you haven't caught that one, you really should check it out. Mindy also said that she has to be really on top of not just going in a direction, which is really going to please her and do her thing, but she's got to, obviously that's part of her signature is how she does things, but it's all about being of service. It's for our client.
Exactly. And I think that's what keeps them having such incredible return clients as well. It shows.
Yes. So that's all we have time for today. I want to thank everybody for listening.
Please make sure you are paying attention to our Instagram at Wedding Biz Show. I'm constantly on there sharing our guest portfolios, talking about them, sharing quotes, other inspiration, other fun regrams if I see what they're out in the world doing. Please make sure you're also signed up on our website in the little pop-up box to get the Next Level Guide, which is all of the notes from our conversations, since Andy only lets me talk for like 15 minutes. So
that's funny. And also, I just want everyone to be aware of our website. Melissa is theweddingbiz.com.
Yeah.
And our handle. You want to give the handle? You're our social media as well as marketing person.
It's at Wedding Biz Show. Find me there.
That's right. You could even, see what's going on with myself, with Melissa, all of us with the show. Also want to talk about some upcoming releases, or basically next week's episode, which is the incredible photographer, Christian Oth. And he is going to make a very special announcement about a brand new service. And let me tell you, Melissa, I got to see it when I came to interview him at his studio. Yep, he brought out Mackenzie, his business development person, and the two of them showed me like this whole thing. I was blown away. I mean, I'm not just saying this. It is amazing. When you all hear this one on Roy, it'll be, I think, a day or two later. And then, of course, next week, we're going to have my interview with Christian. We talk all about his announcement and so much more. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will be back next week with another episode of The Next Level.